Living in England has lended itself to some humorous experiences, so I thought I'd share the lessons learned and the memories that I've made. Hashtag, the struggle is real. Hashtag, the joy is more real. Hope you enjoy my channel. The joy is real. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Joy is Real. Today, I want to talk about my number one piece of advice for adapting to a new country. It doesn't have to be a new country, it could just be a big move where things are new. So I would say one of the biggest things that I struggled with when I first moved to England was trying to figure out what it was that I really missed. So my number one piece of advice for somebody that has a big move coming up is once you're there, try to figure out when you're feeling a little lonely or a little homesick, what it is that you're really missing. What is it that would really fill your cup? And you might not know for a while. For me, it took a little longer than I wish that it would have, but I think I'm getting there. So one of the main things for me that I really missed was nature. I kept thinking, well, I'm going outside a lot. Like I'm going for walks and I'm outdoors quite a bit because it's such a walking country, which I like. But I miss nature. I miss wide open spaces. I had a really hard time living in such close proximity to so many other people. And then also like the whole concept of the back garden, which is, you know, a small fenced in area that like I could measure with a tape measure, was really hard for me to accept that this is my property. This is my outdoors. And I know so many people that live in a flat and would just love to have a garden and probably wouldn't understand why I would even complain about it. I'm not trying to complain about it either, but it was just such a huge adjustment compared to what I grew up with. So I grew up in the country, or I guess you would say like a rural area. I grew up raising goats and chickens and having quite a bit of property and just wide open spaces pretty much everywhere I went. I just really liked being in nature. But in Michigan, I would go outside for a purpose. It wasn't just to be outside, it was to do chores with the animals or to go hunting or fishing or skiing or hiking or biking. Like there was a purpose to my being outside. And here I felt like I would just go outside just because I felt like I should go outside more often. And it didn't quite fill my cup. So it took me a while to figure out that that was something that was bothering me, was that I didn't get to see wide open green spaces without cars and buildings and the hustle and bustle of so much of city life. I finally figured out how to find the open spaces here, and we go to these wonderful country parks that England has to offer. We bought a parking pass because parking in these places can be a little bit tricky if you go a lot like I do. So my kids and I almost, probably not every day, but multiple times a week, bundle up the kids depending on the weather, pack a lunch or whatever, and we go to these country parks. And there's some really beautiful trails and walk, like a nice little walk and country paths and lakes you can walk around. And I had to really seek it out. I mean, obviously there's Google, and I don't know how to explain this in the sense that like, if you've lived here your whole life, you would know where these were. You would know how to find them. You would know what to look for. But I just didn't. I didn't even really know where to go. So figuring out that the country parks were so great and getting away from seeing buildings and cars and just seeing open green spaces has made such a difference, just being able to get outside and really feel like I'm in nature, not just outside. So I think one of the biggest things when you move and learning to adapt to a new country is figuring out like, what are you missing? What is it exactly that you really want? Like in autumn time in Michigan, cider mills are a big thing. You go to a cider mill, get a fresh cup of cider, not alcoholic cider, but just freshly pressed apple juice basically. I guess you would call it cloudy apple juice here, I think. And a fresh donut. These cider mills have like beautiful little, I don't know, stores filled with local, maybe local raw honey or something, like a farm shop. and you'd get fresh donuts, smelled so good, and you'd have fresh apples, and you could go pick apples. Like, that was something I loved doing. So every fall or autumn here, I just go to the store and buy a pack of donuts and some cloudy apple juice. It's not the same, but it's so nice just to have the traditions that I missed. And Thanksgiving is coming up, and I'm super excited about that because that was one of my favorite holidays in the States. So I ordered my pureed pumpkin, and I'm ready to make some pumpkin pies. I already made one, but got a couple more to make as well. So I think it's just figuring out what it is that you miss and bringing it here as much as you can. And of course, it's not the same, or it's not perfect. And I think so much of adapting is letting go of all of the things that you thought you wanted or missed, and then learning what is new here. Because now I know if we ever left England, there's things that I would miss about England. So I would say my number one piece of advice for adjusting and adapting to a new place or a new country would be take some time to really evaluate what it is that you miss and see if you can recreate that where you're at. Anyways, that's my episode on The Joy is Real. I hope that you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!